So this one is from Subterflect. There's 3 short parts. It's called Love is a Formal Feeling. The squirming meat of heart or lint or struggle is unreal. Permutation of a bruise, thrown for a loop now, I juice, squeeze up till the water takes its neutral in, marinating my softly beating spirits. Ostensibly kinesis this, my hand quashes its fruit of one's labor, driving love into form, in careless manipulation follows leaden by dumb game form, remembered if outlived by its freezing nerve, replacing form for theory and its unworking, but you won't. How to disrupt love, following its encounter, making the other entirely red. My 2 or 4 hands make contact and they aren't fruit or flowered hunger like my green self wants me to intone in the voice of a poet. The sorrow is soul, but it's soul, it's positive in flower. That really happened in my dream, and it came in the voice of an American poet. I have to go on a very bad American accent. 2. I put on all your clothes because you're not me. In the vanilla law office, cream, ease, violet, pole, life, vault. The duty the heart performs in cloaking it of its core, remaining visible, snapped in a duty machine, limbed in the frame, signed all the ledgers with possessives, mine, visible in the shallow loan, callously refracting and facing its loss. Plus ça change, by nothing at all. Rending the air by a half eye, ça plus. The mother's tongues are bifurcated by the aerial synesthesia of the Grand Canyon seen from a drone. She and I am speaking with gaps in the sentence, an emotional sophist, bars on the suspect, wasting the death fantasy, the morning trip to the aerial space, walked up the walls with a head peeping through its fittings. The man upping his gold standard in a ring below, the planer mobile to my petrol trap in the lip. Learn to love your trap as your mouth closes over the edibles in this vicinity. There's no pathos in a mile of this town. I've locked myself out of the doghouse and plant my feeders in the kitchen. There isn't another way of saying sorry apart from experiencing loss. Grey salvage slides into the kitchen projection sink. Death Canyon sludges this. Call this number to clean up after your own pet. Heavy petting allowed only in the jealous ward. Okay, so that's 3 poems that kind of open this book. But I wanted to read from this new, I don't know what to call it exactly, but new sequence, which I came up with like a while ago, but it's kind of taken different forms and it never really materialized itself because it was kind of too schematic, or like I wanted it to do something and I didn't know what it was trying to do. And it used to be called like Journal of the Revolutionary Year, and it was kind of this weird futuristic or like sci-fi idea, and it still has some of those elements. So some of it's like this sort of weird sci-fi kind of thing about basically like people who are trying to are kind of trying to like breed like almost extinct species or something in the kind of like near ecological catastrophe future. And so yeah, it has 2 epigraphs. So I mean that maybe seems weird to have epigraphs before you have a full poem, but they kind of like are guiding what I'm thinking about what I want to do with this one. So the first is, fear is an inconstant sadness, and that's from Lynn. And Louise Michel, the second. The work of the Policaries continues dully, and days pour upon days. This is from like the first part, which is kind of like a case study. That's what it's called. Silver light shines across like mirrors to a crime. The angler's skin, translucently inconstant, produces its dark surrounds, only known in its dead form. Name, gems, bioluminescent, qualitative, geometry of the void beneath the sea, no sun to speak of, find it here in the guts, a whole schema of description. Forewrought, under-earth, whose hand removes its murder. By supple blade, the guts stain the tables in the affablement of flesh, food, forbici, fleeting incomprehension of this organ, waste, reddened, marrow reddening to steal its foretaste, but it not being for food. Utilization, whose ultimate end is consume this, leave its carcass behind. Said slop, refuse this. We look at it as in a dream when we say that everything that exists must of necessity be somewhere in some place and occupying some space, and that which doesn't exist somewhere, whether on earth or in heaven, doesn't exist at all. We prove unable to draw all these distinctions and others related to them, even the case of that unsleeping, truly existing reality, because our dreaming state renders us incapable of waking up and stating the truth, which is this. Since that for which an image has come to be is not at all intrinsic to the image, which is invariably born along to picture something else, it stands to reason that the image should therefore come to be in something else, somehow clinging to being, or else be nothing at all. Cut from nape to neck, trout, slip, gill to fin, names for gutting fishes, open season, and the crabs glut the hunts, shaping the knives, sharp breaks in the shark fish basin, owner none, steal their luminescence, keeping the bad times in the gut, pulling truth to mouth, leaves unhunted yourself, stalled motor of the heart of your animal criminal. Bloom yellow to green surround, sound to purr of hymnal green as the tender warm organ tubes its glow to light, as the tender young foal refuses to under light, tail seeks its mate by joie de blandishment. Pragmaticus, this is business. A woman's work is never over, seeking the light of this night, seeking the glowworm's moneyed reproducible squalor as it catapults the lucrative substance tenfold into the dream. Light this night. In this larval, this long sadness, metempsychosis of the dark, grubs for love, would it be in the nature of things to call the seeking mate a woman, symbol. Glutted phenome, venom phenomena, fermion, minion, pheromone me, agglutinated phenome, phony me, genome, venom, or the cereals left off, defunct. Torrential rain on my morning of good feeling, kisses, earlyish, wet pussy, long lusting pulmonary breath of love, sharp breaks the weather, sentinel solaces hunger, intuiting love, intuit or intelligence of wrong, nature's calling the loving wrong, names, fear as a dearly, deadly held nothing. It will not stop in my own fear to go back to the source. My huntress is in a futurist film called Pussy Untangled. What liest thou beneath, the that's above was bottomed out, the whole sky was necessary for one bird. There being no good fear, the good fear stills the water above, the sky beneath. Nature morte, nature révoltée, so curvée, the open mouths, the void ici, water beneath, the paint wash, symbol cured by death, curved suffusion of defeat. Nature withdraws from hunt, will not. The future is a breeder on the paraffin farm, closes the gut claim, baby boom, voici, parabola in retrospect. Give the future as up it clambers into, clinging by the ends of the petite durée, hooping itself up and under a memory, harping on, as another said, harpooning, the voice crashes cymbals floored like a hunter's dream at 4 years old of a dog, manic in the claustrophile. Cell room black in the early night, graying walls, the littleness of fear as the dream at 4 years old of a crow flies its clockwork shadow across the infant room. Tourbillon, light doesn't leave the tiny space, fly off the celebrant hand without knowing forever to flap its guardian wings, paid 2 cents an hour its exit claim, flown up by coupon by key in uncomplaining cage. Neutrality. Open door onto field, open casket onto the open sea, earthquake seizes the compound structure of, the handshake as much as the weather of earthquakes, wails on hampered desecration, no tarte framboise, On the cruise ship, spoons sink beneath their shimmering pour tick, the light seen from its green copper end state as collecting coupons for food banks, rig workers wives await the unreturning new. Underwater mining, feel the hands in there shake, no kiosk, no goat herds, lovers and idols here will be plasticated into the ship's walls, the boats don't leave the harbour. And so could call it an art, but don't, the womenfolk being the half-beings in front of the mirror to which we bring our errant friends, errant specimen loves, bark at it. Inspect ourselves by the spelt distinctions of fate. Water as imperfect metaphor can't make a palace of hidden nature's game where everything turns into gas. The unthinkable, the world for a palace of ice where what wouldn't melt is out of mouths, cups, vehicles or vessels flooded in a garden, rusted, splaying the night with yellow. So the sunflowers grow against their roots, eat the seeds, grey striated husk, green inside, nothing blooms, everything becomes modern. That's a quote from Tom Rayworth. Grey afternoon, suppleness of the outer layer seems chronophile at this distance, clouded sky that traced me awake. Everyone in the reverie of the dark. Go outside my house to find an architectonic of horsefly roots in the night, which in the dream we dodge and sever. Clean figures of men, evil wasps, stung party-goers or urbanites. Bats are predators like other species of blancus in the space menagerie. This dream is a Gaylor's terrible inventory of recently defunct things. Several names for melancholy. Class hatred is in soft focus like the symbols of dead revolt. Objects, codes, flipping their ineffectual limbs. The Luddites die. Photos curl up at their ends and their faces turn and crawl back into the inexistent space. Words for nations or territories. These themselves, several dead species of love. Shore in the childhood sands, the fascists exit the land. The fascists exit the land. Question. Requisition wasn't the metaphysic. Many things lie fallow in themselves. I'm not trying to improve anything, crossing the gap between childhood and education, between lore and science. The land's raw, repulsive surface is textured with yellow grasses, for which there are 100 loving, prescient efficiencies given in name. Their function is burn this, leave the ashes behind, for the cinders to save. In the case that we might prove it, nothing will be improved. Childhood buried in the dunes, the fascists exit the land. Material is the fantasy. The ghost object parted from the body won't leave you. It is a ghost. No architectonic without shame, no flow without authority. Hold my hands out to seep into the poem, like my sieve in the dream, my fiends moving seaward. In the night farm, tractors, hooves, nothing like gills. At Versailles, the Hall of Mirrors or the Heron in the Halls, counter-desecration, Baton Rouge in 2019. The rotting trees, white-green on the water, sullied mist, growth is next to mistrust like a retroactive feeling. Nothing will be improved or forgiven, just new or new. I'm in a new place like a cleavage, a song of songs sung by the modern copy men. We sing the purple out of the blue and kill to fight die. I'm in close proximity to death. I escape in one of their uniforms. Deer decorates the embroidery in the Who Sold This to Gale. Didn't have a war left without ode to emancipating joy, each safe particulate. Cocoons are no longer under or above you. This spider anamorphosis in the web night cannot go outside anymore at all. By the general name, Arachno stands in for its agora, the webs of these figures of men. Fear is an inconstant anarchy. Telling law of the law, spider taken lightly between the fingertips held by the spindly legs, save lethal bites. I was found like this, stretched out upon a table, fingertips pinned. The symbology all medicinal savors the fatal bits. Whatever was seen through was something else, the functionaries of lost loves, parroting reasoning, tetrahedrons of defense. The architecture span out in disgust. I'm in purgatory, but it's just water. It's just water. Optical illusions of the dead. And since I'm very liable to be seduced by metaphors, I'm very liable to be seduced by metaphors. These two short poems come from another part of it, which is going to be called Notes on Salvage, I think. The lower level of my teeth fall out. I put a strap around my face to hold their fleshly tape. Harmony swilled, muttered to my others, the nausea fantasia of the fear in my somnambulant mouth. My humours have been modernized. Sweet rosewater, ashen rainfall, vinegar, salt water, astringent swamp. Nausea signaling bilious obsolescence, where I'd become my own petrification, saved myself for tomorrow, preserved in the mud like the Neolithic gold mine accoutrement, prettify this odorous magnetization in the food-watered thin. Holding back water against the monochrome urbanite foreground, salve on this wound, salvo to the futuristic waking dreamer, whose meat-hungry molars, whose bodies denuded of prey, uselessly tremble in the morning. Stolen cocktail cigarettes in the rainbow colorette. My mother fought with hers. Sports have a relation to war. In the Museum of Anthropology. Sublimation of stork. Fight to the death. I'm damned for orchestral hologram. I'm going to read one more, which is from a non-collected anything, kind of newish poems. Yeah, I think I'll just read this one and then. So it doesn't have a name. Death asks for Aegon. I walk around the streets holding my lip in the rain. My hind legs roll up to my shins. There's an animalism in this and is made by little halves. Body positively dread, forgetting its proper self. Sadly, the slow. Death coming slowly at Broadway and the invisibility scurrying along by the cars. Dodged in present trucks. I strap it up like it'd be complete, packaged like something to eat. And if it should, what kind of death would it taste like? Semiramis like a triumph of brothers. All this fraternity is in my dream, whose fleshly skin is purple. Girls in it are dreamy and kissed. I wake in a hallway of lack without pillow. Don't press myself against you. Just walk out of all the offices you've ever been in and meet you there, where you're not transparent like a wall. Clipped by heels along the tarmac. Drops of thunder, state desertion by proxies. Work ethic I spit like a directive. At the lips of severance, I'm at the lips of service. These are things I might think about myself. I think to myself. I breathe a sigh like deathly cumbrance, mortify my own dove-like peaceable undertaker. All coffins are decorative, will serve mortuary like pronoun worship, and a father is resurrected every day. Never no patriarch died like he should have. Never like you. Little flasks of parenthood pour their scorn into the furrow. Liquid becomes warm as bellies blow their fill. Friends are sold on time, coming back in all tomorrows when children shoulder days. Green stalks of callous denial dance, so subtle and grand is the future. Fathers splash lamentation on their love, outliving itself as never should the mother's drunk afternoon fall into twilight, nor should the infant's hollow smile be its taboo.